Mewtwo will soon begin.
50 years have passed, but I do not age. Time has lost its effect on me. I am perpetually a 10-year-old boy. Gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Pokemon Trainer Ash. Hi, and welcome to the Bomb Squad podcast. I am Tim M. Sullivan, and with me I have...
Hi, I'm Tanner Richard Kraft.
Hi, I'm Austin Sweebelman.
I'm Ethan Hawker.
Source? What's your source on that, buddy?
Cite your sources.
I hate it here.
Hi, I'm Rook Sullivan.
My brother. In case you couldn't tell from my Samurai Jack intro, we're talking about Pokemon today. Specifically, we're talking about Pokemon the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back, the 1998 classic.
Yo, that's the year I was born.
Hey, this man's young.
Whoa.
We have actual literal children in the chat. Holy crap.
I'm 23.
Yeah, they're actual little children.
No, that's my behavior, not my age.
I went to college late, so I'm friends with Zoomers. Anyway.
Gotcha.
So, Pokemon's important series for people our age and younger. It's had a pretty strong staying power in the cultural zeitgeist. Our nephews and nieces love the shit out of Pokemon. So, let's just talk about our history with Pokemon. We'll start with Ethan.
My history with Pokemon was I didn't have any of the games. I watched the anime when I was younger. I have that Ranma preview from the old Viz tapes for the first Ranma film burned into my brain from watching it, and I really liked the anime. I didn't have one of the games until Leaf Green on the GBA, but I had a neighbor who I would borrow her copies of, because she had all of them, like not just like the individual versions, but the variants too. So she had red, blue, yellow, yeah, and she had multiples, which is why I have copies of silver and gold with written on the back. Please censor that name. But the first one that was mine that I owned for real was Leaf Green and later Sapphire, and I sort of fell off after Pearl, but you know, I still have an affection for the games, and as much as I like that anime, I fell off that as with most things you do, and haven't had much of an interest in necessarily revisiting the anime. And you know, this film in particular I have soft feelings about, but I never saw it in the theater, obviously. I have a bit more nostalgia for the third film and the fourth film, which was the first Pokemon movie I owned like on DVD, outside of just episodes of the series on tape. The trading card game on Game Boy Color. Specifically, I had the cards, I never played the game, but the Pokemon trading card game on Game Boy Color, which I also borrowed from that same friend, but I actually gave back. That one rules. Did I give that back or did I sell it? Never mind, it's not important. Pokemon, a story of Ethan stealing video games from his neighbor.
Hell yeah, my guy.
Nice.
That trading card game was excellent.
Hell yeah, indeed. I love that.
Tanner. History with Pokemans.
What the hell is a Pokemon? No, I'm kidding. Who are you people? Why am I here? Where's my family? So, first off, sorry that I sound less than enthused than normal. It's because I got the booster shot yesterday for the Panorama, and I feel like ass. So, history with Pokemon, it's kind of weird. I didn't really get into Pokemon until I was like tween age, like 12, 13, except the very first Pokemon I ever played, which was Pokemon Coliseum for the Nintendo GameCube. I planned on showing you my copy, but it's in the closet and I want to go get it. It's rare now, it's not cheap to buy. That was my first experience with Pokemon, and occasionally watching reruns of the anime on Cartoon Network. I was more of a Nickelodeon kid growing up. I watched SpongeBob. I didn't really watch Cartoon Network all that much, but I would, when Nickelodeon was like playing Fanboy and Chum Chum or some dumb bullcrap like that, I would switch over to Cartoon Network to watch like Pokemon usually, because I feel like there's a solid 3-year period where it was just Pokemon and Andrew WK, and that's all they had. So my first like main series Pokemon games was Diamond and Pearl. Specifically Diamond version was the kind I had. I got that when I want to say I was 13, maybe 12. I got into it late. Most of us, I'm betting most kids get into it when they're 8. I got into it when I was 12, really fell in love with it, played Black and White 2. I didn't get a 3DS until college, so I kind of fell off after that. Around the time I was 17, I think, is when I watched the first movie for the first time. I remember thinking, hey, it's pretty good, because video game movies are usually pretty bad. So watching one that was pretty good. It was a nice change of pace. You know, I thought it was cute, fun. Never really got into the trading card game much. People tried to teach it to me. I couldn't, my brain was hardwired to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yu-Gi-Oh! Alone. Any other card game was confusing to me. I, to this day, do not understand Magic the Gathering, and I don't understand people that say Yu-Gi-Oh! Is more complicated.
I have comments about that. As someone who has played Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh! Now is a cluster.
No, I tried to play it recently. I hurt.
Yeah, as someone who tries to keep up with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Animes and stuff, I watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, and I can't make myself understand Link summoning. I can't do it.
What the hell is
Link? It's actually pretty easy compared to the pendulum.
What the hell is pendulum?
I don't know.
Anyways, Austin, talk about your history with Pokemon.
All right, Q, give me shelter. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a Pokemon master. Add me to the pile of dudes in their 20s whose families suffered greatly from the popularity and success of the Pokemon franchise. Pokemon was kind of like cigarettes. It was hard to quit. Every day I'd wake up and the first thing I thought about was my dad going out and buying me a new pack. I kept up with the anime, collected the cards, played the video games. Then, as I got older, the castle crumbled bit by bit. One day, I went over to my neighbor's house, and he was like, hey, you want to play the card game? Because I had a ton of Pokemon cards. And I was like, sure. And he's like, all right, let's play by the real rules. And I was like, oh no. And that's when I found out I didn't really like playing the card game. I just liked collecting them, which is weird considering how much money my parents spent on those cards. With the anime, I was out of there the second that Misty and Brock left. That was a change I couldn't fly with. And then with the games, which were easily my favorite thing to interact with Pokemon related by far. I think there was a day in high school when I heard some kids talking about strategy and stats and, oh, his special attack is 60, so it can counter Trubbish's inherent potency ability if you give it a fungus berry to hold. And I was like, F this. I don't want to talk about Pokemon games anymore.
What?
There was this time when the franchise completely dominated my life. It was this special brand of currency that kids had access to. I had that phase and eventually moved on. Fortunate thing about being a former Pokemon addict is that you have a lot of cool cards to show for it. These cards I got from going to this movie we're about to talk about. So,
yo, you got it? You got it?
I got the cards. Anyway, back to you, Tim.
Nice. All right. Rook, I basically know your history, but why don't you tell the rest of the class?
All right. So it all started with a 7-page spread in Nintendo Power. Do the children in the audience know what Nintendo Power is?
I know what Nintendo Power is. Excuse you.
Okay. So there was a big old spread on this game called Pokemon, and it just kind of enthralled me. And one of my friends ended up getting a copy of Red, and I played it a little bit, and I was like, I need to play this. And I think that Christmas I got Blue, and I think Timmy got Red at the same time.
I love it when you call him Timmy.
Sorry,
that was the one person who's allowed to call me that.
Oh, it hurts.
I remember getting up really early to watch the anime episodes as they aired. It was 6:30 in the morning or something on Kids WB.
Yeah.
I remember watching the preview episode that was the SSN, the first part of the SSN double episode.
Welcome to this special exclusive preview of Pokemon.
And getting absolutely hooked and talking to all my friends, did you watch it? Oh my god. I have played all of the Pokemon games since. I played the card game for probably 2 or 3 years pretty religiously. I wish I still had those cards, but Mom threw them away, which she just recently admitted to, by the way. That was a fun conversation.
Tears were shed.
Yeah.
Lives were broken. Nothing was ever the same.
I kind of dropped off the anime around, I think, middle end of the Johto series. Gold and Silver are my favorite games. They're just the best version of the Pokemon formula. But, I've enjoyed all of them, except for Sun and Moon. I just never really did Sun and Moon very much. Just didn't grab me.
I didn't like them either.
I've heard the Ultra versions are good, but I don't know, I've not played them. That's generally my history with it. It's been a facet of my life for 25 years in some way or another.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I got into it, like, slightly after you, Rook. Like, I think you were getting into it pretty much immediately, and I was just like, whatever, Power Rangers is cooler.
Man!
So I was watching my Power Rangers and dissing on the Pokemon, but then, like, at some point I watched an episode or two on Kids WB, and I was like, this is cool, so I got more into it, and I was mostly into the anime. Like, I collected the cards. I think I went to, like, a couple of the, like, tournament local plays or whatever. I didn't get too deep into it. I remember having a Pikachu card that was just absolutely creased to shit. I did get that red version, and that's by far the one that I played the most of. I also got a yellow version. I remember, like, they did that thing at, I think, Chesterfield Mall twice, where they had the Mews, where you could take your cartridge up to the person at the mall, and they would give you a Mew on your cartridge. And we did that twice. I got one on my red version, and I got one on my yellow version. And on my red version, I actually got my Mew up to level 100, and that's like my biggest flex as far as Pokemon goes.
I had the level 100 Mewtwo.
I have a level 95 Mewtwo.
Yeah, while he was leveling his Mew, I was leveling my Mewtwo.
We are not the same.
Fight.
That was the game that I got the most into, was Red. I didn't end up getting Gold. I was going to, but then bad grades happened, so I was not allowed. And
you were distraught.
I was not happy. Like, I'm mostly familiar with, like, Gen 1 and Gen 2 Pokemon. After that point, it's just like a couple of them here and there. There's a fucking ice cream one, I don't know. That's about it for my history with the franchise. Let's go into the thoughts of the movie, because this was the first, like, big theatrical thing for the Pokemans franchise. Tanner, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so I think my thoughts on the movie. I think Ryan Reynolds is really great as Detective Pikachu. I think he's really awesome in the role.
Damn.
I like Justice Smith as the main. Wait, what? I'm not talking about the wrong movie. Damn.
So there I was, in the middle of nowhere with a bad case of the forgetsies.
Oh, well, let me pull up my notes. I actually took notes for this one because there's one specific thing I wanted to mention. There's a shot at the beginning of the movie when Mewtwo's in a pod and the scientists are talking to him, and it goes to this wide shot where there's two different pods, and you, like, see these reflected versions of the scientist and Mewtwo in the pod, and it looks really, 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 really cool.
Yeah.
I just want to shout out that one shot. Other than that, I think the movie's cute. You know, I think it's fun. You know, it's good kind of like kids movie type thing for babies. I'm smart man. Oh no. For a movie where half of it takes place on a football field, pretty engaging. You know, I like the clone things. I like Mewtwo as a character. I think is the standout here. He's like tirading on all these philosophical notes, and it's wild. I'm like, damn, I'm 4, man. What you talking about? I think the animation holds up pretty well. Looks pretty good, especially, again, some of the stuff in the opening with the that shot with the pods is so freaking cool, man. I'm sorry, that's like the only highlight to me was that shot with the pods.
I remember actually, like, catching that. I was like, I thought that was excellent.
But otherwise, the movie's good. I like the Pokemon fights. Brock is a king.
He's such a big simp that Mordecai from Regular Show looks like a Chad next to him.
God, like, king of the simps. Brock is my idol, my god, my icon. The way, like, 13-year-olds feel about Taylor Swift, that's how I feel about Brock from Pokemon.
His horniness begins the movie.
Greetings, Pokemon trainers. I bear an invitation.
She's really small, but really pretty.
Should we go?
Of course we should! I've got to meet her!
Yeah, you're right. It's all about the horny, baby.
On that note, let's take it over to Ethan. Let's hear what your thoughts are on the Pokemon movie.
Like, overall thoughts, I think the English dubbed version is solid, particularly the version you guys watched. It's truncated slightly. They cut out the first, roughly 10 minutes of it. But the thing is, they dubbed that first 10 minutes. It was a bonus feature on the old DVDs, where it starts off with Mewtwo, because the whole plot is the main scientist is the reason he's doing the cloning is because he's trying to clone his daughter.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you miss all the baby Mewtwo sort of existing, because all the pods can sort of communicate with each other psychically, and you kind of have Mewtwo is greeted by them and treated well, sort of made a part of this surrogate family, but then they all start to die because they're clones. They're failed clones. They have a degenerative property that causes them to die in their pods, whereas Mewtwo lives on, sort of latching on to the final words of the scientist's daughter about the importance of life.
And don't cry, Mewtwo. You should be happy. You're alive, and life is wonderful.
But he kind of attaches too much to those words, where he's really not just life, but being powerful and surviving more than anything, and that his worldview gets more twisted as it goes on. And I think critics would have maybe received the film a bit better if that full opening had been in there, because it adds a lot more weight to Mewtwo's actions. Like, overall, I think a lot of the vocal performances, like in the English dub, like some are a little weak, even for the day, like. But overall, strong. Like, I liked a lot of it. What was there, especially, the Team Rocket crew, especially, are all a lot of fun. Big shout out, I think, to Maddie Blaustein, who is probably the first trans actress the vast majority of people ever heard. She plays Meowth, and played her from episode 31 of the anime up until episode 700 some odd. Yeah, for a very, very long time, until her tragic passing. In 2008, but she played a lot of characters, including the President in Shadow the Hedgehog. The President in Shadow the Hedgehog is trans. Here, first, folks. No, I just love that. I think she also played, relevant to Tim's interest, Solomon Muto in Yu-Gi-Oh! Grandpa, Yugi's grandpa. Maddie Blaustein is a really cool person, and I would be remiss to not bring her up. Like, I didn't bring up the fact that RC's voice actress in Transformers the movie was lesbian, because it's nice. It's nice to see actors who are cool and maybe not, cishet. Oh, this is... I don't mean to linger on my own thoughts, but did anybody else watch both versions, the Japanese and English language?
I wanted to.
I don't know how to speak Japanese.
I would very much like to go back and rewatch it in Japanese, because I think a lot of the plot got lost in the translation.
Yeah, the big thing, and I can save some of this for when we're discussing particular moments, but since it's not a favorite moment, it's an anti-favorite moment, I want to mention it here. In the English dub, when they're fighting towards the end of the film, the big climax, I hate that vocal song. Oh, brother, sweet brother, God. It's garbage. It's not even a very good...
I'm gonna go against the grain. It's good.
It's not even a good R&B song. Good to... Well, I don't know. It's really not fitting there. Mm-hmm. In the original Japanese, it's not there. And I generally prefer the Japanese score in general. It's a bit more minimalist and less sort of generic symphony orchestra. I do like that R&B-ified version of the Pokemon opening, though, of the Pokemon theme. That's fun.
This is my destiny.
Yeah, that's good, and I don't mind that, but overall I think the score changes are sort of for the worst. And during that fight, when the humans are talking in Japanese, it's not about like fighting, it's about like cloning, it's about identity, as opposed to like how fighting is bad. It's like they're fighting each other, but they are the same. Like, that's sort of tragic that they've been so othered. And there's not Meowth wrapping things up with focusing on the differences. It's just a poignant sort of thing where there's a full moon tonight. It sure does look beautiful as they share the same earth. I don't know. It's a bit more poetic in general than the 4Kids dub. And I understand sort of wanting to make things more digestible for younger American children who are more used to that. But also, I don't know, be like Digimon. Assume better of your... Digimon, the television series, not the movie. Assume better of your audience. For as negative as I might seem towards the English adaptation, I do like it. I think it's fun and light, and it helps that it's, that I have a certain amount of nostalgic affection for it. I think a lot of the more poignant scenes still hit hard. I like Mewtwo. I like his vocal performance. He has a line towards the end, which of course I completely forget, but we can put in here.
I see now that the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are.
It's not the circumstances of one's birth. I forget exactly how it goes, but it's... That's
the trick, is you can just remember the first few words and then just end it with line.
I think it goes, it's every day, bro, with that Disney Channel.
I hate it here. I hate it here so much. I can't express how much I hate Tanner Richard Kraft and want him to be in more pain.
I am in so much pain.
But yeah, Tanner, you're the degenerative clone of Brandon Dietrich. You're the Mewtwo to his Mew.
Yo, baller! I can lift with my mind. Yeah, like these headphones.
Pokemon, the first movie, pretty good. I like it well enough.
All right. Thank you for all of that, all of you guys.
I'm so sorry.
Austin, give us your thoughts on the Pokemon movie.
Talking to now that Ethan's explained that the Japanese version was different than the English one, I was like tripping balls going back and reading the Wikipedia article for this, where it's talking about reception overseas, and it's like the film was well received in Japan for its themes of existentialism. I was like, what?
Me as a 6-year-old. What is life?
I think there's a clip that I'm going to spam that I found last night. It's this clip from Associated Press of one of the producers from 4Kids talking about, like, this may be a bullshit story about how the Japanese, like, producers sat down after they did the dub, and they apparently said, oh, we like your version of the movie more than ours.
They sat next to me in the movie theater yesterday watching the premiere and paid us a great compliment saying they enjoyed our version of the movie better than theirs.
Which is totally not something this producer made up. Let's start off with the positive notes. 4Kids or Warner have released the version with that Mewtwo segment before, featuring like the dead daughter and the cloning process. And yeah, I also agree that the movie might have been more well received. That part might have been my favorite part of the movie. It deceived me into thinking this was some underrated classic, and then just like how it falls off after that like 10-minute segment is so complete, like so bad. I don't know if I could be objective about this movie though, because I know what Pokemon are. Like I know who Ash is, and I have a good idea about how insane it is that like Mew and Mewtwo are in this movie. But I have a theory that like one of the reasons millennials like keep getting cats and dogs instead of kids is partially because of this franchise. It emphasizes how cute things are, and it's marketed towards all these little boys. Like I think it got a whole generation of little boys in touch with how cute it is. That's a theory, a game theory. One thing I really liked about this movie growing up was the sort of like resurrection element of the story. It's like getting to access the sort of like Jesus Christ story feelings, but you're just into Pokemon instead of that bonkers religion. A similar movie that hits this note well is the SpongeBob SquarePants movie.
My man!
Let's talk negatives. So normally for a podcast, I can find like details from the film's production, behind the scenes stuff, footage of it being made. Not with this. This is like such a cash grab slapdash film. It's like it was generated by slaves in a warehouse somewhere.
That's called animation.
Yeah, I think that's normal, isn't it, Ethan?
Yeah, that's animation, baby.
Damn.
Remember in the Vampire Hunter D podcast when I said that the people were paid like $1 per cell for bloodlust?
Oh no.
Another thing.
That's pretty bad.
I went through the trouble of ripping this from a Blu-ray and getting that big ass like 25 gigabit MKV file. I always try to get movies in 1080 or higher for the podcast, but this is like the cells were like painted and photographed for the home market exclusively. Even though this got a 35mm release in theaters, it just looks fuzzy. It looks like trash a lot of the time. Like you'll see shots where the like definition on the lines is good, and then it'll just look like a normal episode that's like blown up a lot of the time. The on-the-nose dialogue really made me appreciate that South Park episode where Stan's parents try to watch Jim Pokemon.
I am sad now, because Lambtron must be very lonely because there are so few Lambtrons in the world. Will he ever find a companion?
This doesn't make sense. Are those stupid things supposed to be animals or robots or what?
The voice acting in the English dub is kind of horrible at times, specifically stuff the trainers say.
Oh no!
We did it!
There's this one hilarious part I want to highlight where the blue-haired lady in charge warns everybody that they're gonna die if they go out and brave the storm and try to get to New Island. Then when all the trainers go, they just ignore her and fly away. She stands there like admiring them, and she's like, yeah, that's what it takes to be a real Pokemon master.
Risk your life. That's what it takes to be the very best, like no one ever will.
If somebody doesn't ignore me when I tell them they're gonna die, they're never gonna make it as a Pokemon master. One last very subjective and pointless criticism. I think the spiral staircase in this movie is one of the many reasons I have a reoccurring nightmare about hanging off ledges and falling.
Weird, I have those nightmares because of Ethan.
The best thing this movie does, in my opinion, is make people who grew up with it cry. Like, there aren't that many real laughs or thrills or any intrigue, but it could probably still make you cry. It's like Up if the opening montage was the same, but the rest of the movie was a commercial for Pixar action figures. I didn't like it as much. Back to you, Tim.
Fair enough.
Hater alert.
Valid points. All right, Rook. What are your thoughts upon revisiting the film?
Okay, so the beginning of the movie is a crime boss teaching a literal child how to commit war crimes. And that's just the rest of the movie.
Just saying, his name's Giovanni. Maybe if he wasn't Italian, I'm just saying.
How to harness his power to go commit literal war crimes against humanity, and doesn't expect anything bad to happen from that. And then he just shits on him. He's like, "You're my bitch. You're my slave."
You were created by humans to obey humans. You could never be our equal.
And he's like, no, f*** you. And then he gets up and f***s off. And then, like, Giovanni's like, oh well.
Those days, am I right?
Right. There's also a couple fun little quirks I noticed. That one of the trainers says that all of his Pokemon are water types. He has a Nidoqueen.
What?
It's blue. It's blue. That means water.
And in one shot, that Nidoqueen is a Nidoking.
Hell yeah.
It's after the Gyarados gets hit by the blast.
Gender fluidity in action.
Yeah.
This movie was progressive as
I think I noticed it when I watched it. I went, hey, that one dude, why he different now? me when I see a child grow up. Why does one dude look different now?
Yeah, I remember, like, me and Tim went to go see it. I'm sure our mom took us.
She has not let us live that down.
No.
That is something she has brought up many times over the years.
On how she had to take us to all of the cartoon movies that we wanted to see.
Yeah. Well,
didn't she also take us to
Pyramid of Light? I think that we were dropped off because at that point you were old enough that you could just like watch me and my friends.
Okay, yeah. No, I think that was why, because she was like, I'm not watching another anime movie.
Yeah.
I'm done.
After the first one, I think she like left us with someone else for 2002. She will not let us live down the Pokemon the first movie. To the point that, like, I can say something like, the Polar Express looks really weird because it's photorealistic and it hasn't aged well. And she'd be like, yeah, but it looks better than Pokemon. Like, does it, Mom?
No, it doesn't.
Does it really?
No, it doesn't.
Those soulless eyes.
Polar Express, more like the polar ass.
Press.
But yeah, revisiting the movie was fun. A nice little trip down nostalgia lane. It hasn't aged particularly well. It's fine, but it's still a fun little ride, and it still has like the best quotes from like any anime movie ever, with like the Mewtwo line and the Meowth line, just like being super like wholesome about reality. There's some good themes, but overall it's not a great movie, but it was fun.
Awesome. Yeah. Just revisiting it. It's a movie that I'd basically say like it's definitely a fun one to revisit. I think I've seen it like once or twice before this past revisiting in my adult life, and like it's just kind of one that you watch it and you're like, this is just a fun movie from a childhood. Watching the Pokemons do the battles. You were talking about like the scene where he breaks away from Giovanni. I remember loving how they tied that into the show, where like,
yes,
the episode where Ash goes to battle Giovanni, you see him breaking out, and then it's just like, I think it's like Jesse and James in the gym instead, because Giovanni's like, what the I gotta deal with this now. So yeah, that's something that I always enjoy about the movie, was just that little tie-in.
One thing I don't understand was it shows Gary getting his ass absolutely kicked, but Gary still has the badge from Giovanni's gym when he shows off to Ash. So what happened?
Counterfeit.
He went in for round 2.
Yeah, I mean, Ash does that all the time, where he gets his ass kicked and then he comes back and wins the day or whatever.
Has Ash ever won the Pokemon League? I feel like he always like finished his top win.
Not in Pokemon the first movie, the subject of today's podcast.
Overall, just kind of a fun, just like whatever movie for most of it. And yeah, it's like a lot of just like kind of cute themes that are kind of good for like the kids watching. Like I remember that was like the one thing that Mom was always adamant about. Was like, I had to sit through this. Now you're gonna hear about how violence is wrong.
What a queen.
Some solid vocal performances, at least as far as like 4Kids goes. One line that I thought was particularly funny was when Team Rocket's in the Viking costumes and they're rowing, and Jesse goes, "Stroke, stroke. I think I'm gonna have one."
And then just a random shout out to the Minnesota Vikings.
The Minnesota Lions! I didn't know Vikings still existed.
They mostly live in Minnesota.
So let's just move on to the next bit, which is scenes. Let's talk about some of our favorite scenes.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna put Rook on his toes and have him go first.
Oh, all right. Probably the little intro before like the title card is probably that, and then like the little bit with Giovanni is probably my favorite part of the movie. After Ash gets introduced, it's fine, but everything before Ash gets introduced is probably my favorite part of the movie. I really like Mewtwo like being turned into a war machine and like figuring out, oh no, I don't actually have to do this for you. I could just do this.
We dreamed of creating the world's strongest Pokemon, and we succeeded.
There's definitely some fun bits. I had completely forgotten about like the Team Rocket Mew subplot of the movie.
Pokemon identified. Begin replication sequence.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Meowth!
One thing I do remember, when we saw it in the theater, the Mewtwo voice was like, it was like the surround sound, but when we got it on VHS, it sounded awful. Because the Mewtwo voice was like super quiet compared to everything else, because it was supposed to be like quiet but surround.
So instead it's just like, I am Mewtwo, what's up?
Yeah, it's just like, he's just like whispering in your ear all the time.
I heard that about 5.1 mixes of this movie. When Mewtwo's thinking, it's all in the center channel, but then when Mewtwo's like psychically talking to everybody, it fills up the other 4 channels.
Right.
Yo, you guys ever been to Burger King? You get these really cool toys, Pokemon toys at Burger King.
Get those gold slabs.
Like 3 kids died from those toys.
It was like a Pokeball that came apart, and so kids were suffocating on half of the Pokeball.
You know what? I'm just built different. What had happened to me?
Team Rocket was pretty fun in this movie. I like them better in all of the movies than I like them in the TV show. Back to you, Tim.
All right, awesome. Austin, scenes.
Same exact thing as Rook. I think the part before Ash is introduced is just the best, because it's like an actual anime instead of like this really bad MCU film. Like, it's a totally different style. I also think it's hilarious when Clone Meowth appears and just instantly starts doing a word-for-word reading of that speech from Charlie Chaplin's The Great Dictator. Like, he's just fresh out of the pod and just starts going.
In this world, there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich.
What do you think he was doing in the pod, my guy?
He was studying leftism.
That dude came out there a commie super soldier.
And then my last thing I want to say is shout out to my boy Dragonite. He's always been the best Pokemon and always will be, and I'm happy he's in this movie.
Dragonite is like Charizard, but round.
He's just like me, for real.
All right, Tanner, some of your favorite scenes.
I'm gonna go against the grain. While I do love that opening, I watched the version Tim gave me, where that opening's like maybe not even 10 minutes. I think it's 8 minutes most. When I was watching it last night, I got surprisingly choked up, even though I knew what was happening. But when the movie makes you think Ash is about to freaking fight it, and then Pikachu's there, and he's like, Pikachu, Pikachu, Pikachu. Are you f***ing serious right now?
I'm not putting that in. I'm cutting you crying on a Pokemon podcast.
No, leave it in.
No, please
just
leave
loop
it in.
through
This
the
is
entire
funny.
cast.
We gotta do it.
Whenever you ask a question, it's just Tanner sobbing.
Well, it was more just Pikachu being like, Chew! Chew! Chew!
How many times is he gonna say it? How many times is Tanner gonna say chew?
And just hearing like the excellent vocal performance. Who voices Pikachu?
It's the original Japanese voice actress. I can't remember their name for the life of me.
She does a magnificent job of that moment. There's a lot of it. It's kind of like how Vin Diesel does Groot in the I Am Guardians movies, or whatever. It's like a limited line. Like, it's only one line, but you pack so much emotion into it, you know? It hit me right here. And then when Ash is like, I'm back, I'm like, yeah! I like the battles. I mean, yeah, the show had some better ones, but I think the ones in here are pretty solid. It's about on par with the rest of the show, at least at that time. So it's not bad. It's maybe just lacking a little. But yeah, Ash's fake out sort of death. I can't believe I cried about that. Oh my god. At that scene, I think there's just a lot of emotion in that scene. It really worked for me.
All right, Ethan, what are your favorite scenes?
As a whole, I think there are some good ones. I like Ash sort of racing up that spiral tower. I honestly think that's a really effective scene, and the animation's genuinely pretty solid throughout it. I think it's the most desperate the film ever feels. Like, it's like the climax at the end, I think the size of it, like the attempt, like since it's just a bunch of Pokemon kind of standing there slugging each other and you can't really go into the detail of it, just focusing on an interaction between two characters just allows you to do a lot more visually, because you don't need to slot in, you don't need to make a panning shot showing like every Pokemon beating the shit out of each other or whatever. But when it's just, Ash running up the spiral staircase, or in the terms of the Pokemon duels, I like the stuff with Mew and Mewtwo fighting, but like probably the highlight is the Charizard battle between the Charizard clone. That is a really good sequence when they're just sort of flying, and the way the animation of them colliding with one another, the speed on that is so good. I think, that's easily the best fight sequence in the entire film. Anything with Team Rocket, like sort of the journey to the mysterious island starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, is a lot of fun. Sort of not a scene, but I kind of missed commenting on it, but the digital animation throughout I think is generally pretty good. Like the CGI is used for like the stylized computer animation on the door, or like that the reflectivity on the pod, the way it's it's a warping effect applied to the edges of it and that sort of thing. Or the way they use it to do like a multi-plane thing. Like, you can see it. You can see the seams of it a little bit, but I think it does what it needs to very well, and helps sort of push, because the animation quality isn't like leagues ahead of the television anime. Like those digital effects really do a good job of sort of pushing the visuals and making it distinct from the television series, I think, overall. And Robo Mewtwo, obviously, that's sort of the elephant in the room, obviously, for me, because I love Mewtwo with his his weighted training armor or whatever, and that sequence is really good. I just think it looks rad as hell. He looks like Tom from the Toonami. I feel like it informed a lot of my aesthetic sense of what I like, and what I like is big chunky shoulder pads and cool visors.
Hell yeah!
I love Metroid.
Tanner spending the last few minutes just kind of looking down, disinterested, and then looking up. Hell yeah, I love that. That's Tanner.
I heard shoulder pads. I heard shoulder pads, and I went, I like shoulder pads.
This man likes shoulder
pads. They're very practical. Me as an NFL head coach, man, put on some pads.
Oh, God, I bet you played football with that helmet. That would explain a lot.
You're supposed to wear a helmet?
Yes. I love you, Tanner. Never change. I think it definitely overall feels kind of like one of those like Toei films that it was those where they would run them in like festivals where it was supposed to be like 40 minutes, 60 minutes long, like a very short feature or not quite feature length, but they just kind of stretched it out to make it into a proper feature because it was such a phenomenon. And I think later features rectify that a bit more. They feel like they're built a bit more ground up as feature films. Even still, this one has its charm, even if it's overall not great, not that good. I was kind of being a bit more polite earlier, but I suppose now that Austin has let the cat out of the bag, I'm like, I don't love it. I like Pokemon the movie 3. That's the good one. That's the one where Entei says mama.
I like the one with Celebi.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
2000?
Yeah.
2000.
2000's solid too.
Detective Pikachu was a lot of fun.
All right, Tim, what's up?
Thank you, Ethan. All right. So yeah, I guess I would pretty much agree that like the opening stuff is all really strong, and that the Mewtwo armor is awesome. Have to agree with that. Just like kind of seeing Mewtwo break free from Giovanni, real great stuff. The Team Rocket stuff had a lot of good comedy, some good bits in there. One shot really that stood out to me particularly strongly was just like when the clones are all fighting the Pokemon, and then like you see the clone Pikachu just slapping Ash's Pikachu around, and just like over the course of the shot you start to see the clone Pikachu crying. Like something about that is powerful to me.
Kindred spirits.
That one hit deep. The Pikachu shocking Ash to try and wake him up. Like that's such an easy answer, but like it does have like a lot of emotional value.
Thank you for validating me.
And like it's such a cheesy ending, but like it works for just like what it is. It's a good emotional moment.
Pocket monsters rock.
Yeah, you can hold them in your pocket and everything. Like this, you just stick it in the pocket. There we go.
I have a Wendy's box here, so I'm going to stick that in my pocket in lieu of a Pokemon.
Thank you, Tanner. Very cool.
Ethan just starts crying. I just hear him start crying.
Finally, Pokemon the first movie made me cry. Watching Tanner stuff a greasy fry box in his pocket.
It's a chicken nugget box. Ow!
Not the nuggets.
On that note, I think I'm gonna ask for final thoughts. Austin, let's start with you.
A lot of nostalgia is like cherry picking rose-tinted glasses. Like it's finding the best films from the 90s and the best toys and the best songs. And just like insisting the past was so awesome. Rewatching Pokemon the first movie is like an anti-nostalgia trip. Like it rubs your face in this property from the 90s that we mostly liked because we were little kids getting high on dopamine from video games and playing cards. But like there's value in remembering movies like this. It sort of lets you know how far you've come.
Fair enough. All right, Tanner, final thoughts.
I really recommend the game Pokemon Coliseum. It's probably my favorite Pokemon game. Other than that, sorry. Oh, why do I do this to myself? I have no one to blame but me. The movie's cute. Made me cry, even though I knew what was happening. It's like Optimus's death in Transformers, but like way less impactful, but still, I think fairly, powerful moment. If Pikachu had the Allspark or whatever the hell, that probably would have hit hard. But yeah, a good movie. I think it's worth watching. Not the best Pokemon movie. That would be Detective Pikachu. Back to you, Tim.
All right, Ethan, final thoughts.
I had fun with it, and I'm sort of towing the line where that Austin, and I suspect the rest of you are, in that like it was sort of a fun nostalgia trip, and it's pretty vapid despite having some good ideas. Its vapidity is more a product of its localization, I suspect, than anything. Even then, in Japanese, it's not the most special thing in the world, but I think it's an effective dry run for better Pokemon films, as much as anything. It's still not as good as Digimon. Nothing in the Pokemon franchise comes close to Digimon. 0 out of 10. Watch Pokemon the movie 3.
Digimon has ska, baby. That's why it's number 1. That's why it's king.
I'm gonna beat you to death.
I hope you do.
Rook, final thoughts.
It's fun. It was a fun nostalgia trip, but just like I don't want any more Star Wars that has anything to do with Skywalkers, I don't want any more Pokemon that has to do with Ash Ketchum.
Too bad.
Give me more in the Pokemon universe, but Ash Ketchum needs to go. He's overstayed his welcome.
Would you accept the Skywalker family in Pokemon?
No. They need to get out. They had 9 films.
Just watch an episode of Pokemon. I'm Luke Skywalker. Disney's really doing a lot with the buyout.
Right. Yeah. Oh God. Please. No. Never.
Disney buys Nintendo. The world is ending.
Oh, that I would just cry. Yeah, it's fun. Pokemon 2000's better.
Fair enough. Yeah, I had a lot of fun revisiting this. It's one of those movies that like it's not anything super duper deep, but it's a fun one to revisit, especially if you have like an appreciation for the franchise. And like I really enjoyed Mewtwo and Mew, so it was just fun to see them in action. And yeah, just a good time to revisit. So yeah, that's gonna pretty much do it for this cast. Rook, thank you for coming on the show. Do you have anything you would like to promote?
Thank you for having me. If you're looking to pick up copies of some old games, come on by to Retro Game Rescue. It's where I'm working now. We have tons of copies of them.
Sweet.
We're promoting a physical location for the first time ever. This rules. Next episode, I'm gonna promote Walmart. Come down to the Kirkwood Super Center, my guy.
There you go.
We got corn.
All right. That's gonna do it for this podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. If you are listening on any of the audio platforms, go ahead and leave a review because it helps boost us in the algorithms. If If you are watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. Leave a comment below. Let us know. What is your favorite Pokemon movie? What did you think of Pokemon the first movie? What's your favorite Pokemon? Do you want to see more Ash Ketchum or do you not? Let us know.
Skywalker and Pokemon, yes, no?
Yeah, the real questions right there. And while you're there, go ahead and hit the like button if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos. And hit the bell icon if you want to hear about said videos. We have the Patreon, we have streams, we have stuff.
Go to patreon.com.
Go give us money, please. Hello, I am Tim and Sullivan from 2 weeks in the future. This is the part of the podcast where we originally told you to tune in next week for Digimon the movie. Well, due to some unfortunate circumstances outside of our control, we had to push this podcast back and shift the schedule around a little bit. So the Digimon podcast is already out by the time that this is coming out, so you can watch that right now. But tune in tomorrow night for Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions. Thank you for listening. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. Thank you for tuning in, and remember, Pikachu, Pika Pika, and I cannot stress this enough, Pika P. Farewell.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye, bye.
Bye.
Oh, no!
We did it!
I slid my ticket across the table and I said, sorry guys, I gotta see about a girl.